Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, hi! My name is Natasha and it's fantastic to have you here. For today's video, we are unboxing and taking a look at the Awareness deck by Anthony De Mello. This is 108 cards for reflection and inspiration, published by Beyond Words. Thank you so much to Beyond Words for sending this my way. Retailing for $22 in the US and $30 in Canada. I will link down in the description box below where you can legitimately purchase this if you would like to. All right, let's get into it. What you are aware of, you control. What you are unaware of controls you. Offering profound insights and aiming to inspire, enlighten, and transform, these 108 grace-filled cards feature poignant quotes from the teachings of Anthony De Mello, one of the 20th century's most revered spiritual masters. Perfect for daily inspiration and inner reflection, you'll experience a shift in perspective and be reminded that within you lies all you need for happiness and fulfillment. By engaging with these cards every day, or even just when you need a moment of mindfulness, you'll start perceiving life, people, and situations through a new lens, uncovering previously unseen truths. Anthony De Mello was a Jesuit priest born in Bombay, India, in 1931. He is regarded as one of the most foremost spiritual teachers of the 20th century, respected widely for his groundbreaking and enduring work that integrates Western and Eastern spirituality. And then there's a website for him as well. Let's open it up. It is a pretty big packaging situation here. All right. Nice. So here's a little booklet pamphlet. It's not necessarily a guidebook because I don't think you're going to need one with this type of deck. About this deck, so they've been sourced from De Mello's wide collection of popular books, including Awareness, The Way to Love, Stop Fixing Yourself, A Year with Anthony De Mello, and more. A small number of quotes were formed from a combination of sentences from two of his books that complement the same idea. In a couple of the cards, the wording has been adjusted slightly for the quote to fit into the smaller format. However, the content in these cards remains strictly Anthony De Mello's. Every card is a movement toward awakening you to the truth that everything you need to be happy and fulfilled is available to you right now. The message on each card will help you see this. As you relate to the message in the cards, you will begin to view life in a new light, respond to people in a new way, and see things, beautiful things, that you have never seen before. You will begin to recognize the loving force surrounding you, there to make life meaningful, happy, and rich. You will start to function from your already present divinity. Awesome. Okay. These cards bring you home to yourself. No effort is required. In fact, the deck is an antidote to the laborious self-pushing to improve oneself that spiritual seekers can fall into. It is about finding yourself, which is really a rediscovery of who you already are and always have been. All you are asked to do is show up every day with an open heart, which is exactly what these cards provide, a simple way to show up for yourself. Nice. How to use this card deck. We recommend going through the entire deck one card, one day at a time at first. If a particular card strikes you as pertinent, set it aside on your desk or bedstand to keep the thought in front of you. In his book Sadhana, Tony recommended the following for pondering his ideas. If any of the sentences appeal to you, place it in your heart and ponder on its inner meaning. This will cause its inner truth to germinate and grow. Do not force it open with your mind. That would only kill the seed. Sow it where the soil is rich. Sow it in your heart and give it time. Of course, you are free to use these cards any way you choose. You can even consult the deck like an oracle, first posing a question about a situation or relationship, then shuffling the deck while you hold the question in your mind, and then turning the top card over for an answer. And then we have books written by him as well. Okay. So this might be kind of a shorter video just because we're not going to be reading every single 108 card. We'll go through a little bit and then we'll see how it shuffles so that we can get an idea without being overwhelmed by the sheer amount of text that we have, right? Because it is a video. Okay. So first, let's talk about the cardstock. These are pretty big size cards, which would be nice if you are setting it somewhere to see visibly all day. Medium cardstock, very flexible, snapping back, and it is a high gloss. I like the art on the back. They remind me of little river rocks or pebbles. Okay, I'll read out a couple of them and then we'll shuffle so that way, again, we can get an idea. Sooner or later, there arises in every human heart the desire for holiness, spirituality, God, call it what you will. Spirituality means waking up. Most people, even though they don't know it, are asleep. They're born asleep, they live asleep, they marry in their sleep, they raise children in their sleep, they die in their sleep without ever waking up. Yeah, I can relate to that. Do you want a sign that you're asleep? Here it is. You're suffering. If you're suffering, you're asleep. Suffering is a sign that you're out of touch with the truth. Suffering is given to you that you might open your eyes to the truth, that you might understand that there's falsehood somewhere, just as physical pain is given to you, so you will understand that there is a disease or illness somewhere. Life is a banquet, and the tragedy is that people are starving to death. 100%. That one, 100%. The first thing you need to do to wake up is consider that your culture hypnotized you into believing that before you could have a seat at the banquet, you needed to make something of yourself first, to measure up, to become a certain kind of person, to acquire certain kinds of property, to attain certain kinds of status, a certain kind of reputation. This is what you were taught. Every conscious moment, the programming that society stamped into you imperiously insists that its demands be met by life, by people, and by you. If they are not met, even though it be through no fault of yours, your brain generates negative emotions that cause you to suffer. For example, when other people don't live up to your programmed expectations, your brain torments you with frustration or anger or bitterness. Or when things are not under your control or the future is uncertain, your programmed expectations insist that you experience anxiety and worry, if that is not 100% correct. So this is why you hear the phrase, other people's perceptions or opinions of you are not your business. Like, we will never truly know how other people really, think about you or judge you, that sort of a thing, until you get to know them, right? We can't control their actions. We can't control what they think. And when we have that preconceived notion about, oh, they might think this way or the other, we either get extremely disappointed and that leads to anxiety, or we are extremely surprised and we go our whole life for a while not knowing what the truth really was, thinking we might be the problem, or they're angry with us, or they don't like us, when in reality they do. So this is absolutely a great example of that. Preconceived notions and programming. If we are attached to power, money, property, fame, and success, if we seek these things as if our happiness depended on them, we will be considered a productive member of society, dynamic and hardworking. In other words, if we pursue these things with a driving ambition that destroys the symphony of our life and makes us hard and cold and insensitive to others and to ourselves, society will look upon us as a dependable citizen, and our relatives and friends will be proud of the status that we have achieved. It is a pathetic existence to live constantly at the mercy of things and people, trying desperately to make them conform to your programmed demands so that you can enjoy the only peace you can ever know, a temporary respite from negative emotions. And one more here. Wake up. Put on a new mind. Take on a new way of looking at things, for the kingdom is here. It's the rare spiritual seeker who takes things seriously. All right, this one seems nice to end on. We're surrounded with joy, with happiness, with love, and most people have no idea of this whatsoever. The reason? They're hypnotized. They're asleep. Imagine a stage magician who hypnotizes someone to see what is not there and not see what is there. All right. So before we end and I give you my thoughts, I'm going to try to shuffle these, even though this is a lot of cards here. I doubt I can do this. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Let's try this way. Okay, it can be done. But yeah, I like the idea of kind of using this as a inspirational day before your meditation, after you wake up and you're drinking coffee and you want to get into the right frame of mind. I like this as kind of a tool to rein your overthinking mind back in. I think that this is a good way of kind of going about getting into that open spirituality mindset without having to read a bunch of different books. This might be something as a reminder instead of a, an oracle or something of the sort like that. But I could see how it could be used for that as well. Such as this one, you're holding on to a false belief that without a change in this particular person or achieving that particular result or acquiring this particular thing, you will not be happy. It's a false belief. So don't project onto an attachment, that sort of a situation. I don't mind this. I think that I would have to kind of really read through it. I think it's a different take on like an affirmation deck or a kind of like similar to Abraham Hicks in a way, where she has the Get in the Vortex decks or the different Vortex Hay House oracles. Similar to that, but not quite, if that makes any sense at all. It gives you a different perspective. It shifts your mindset a little bit, because sometimes we get so caught up in the present, situations that we're going through. Some people are calling it the 3D, like the reality of the situation, where when we take a step back, we can kind of look at all the different possibilities and the different ways of going about it, right? We can change things. And again, suffering can be the overthinking, right? Where we just think about way too many options, way too many possibilities, way too many things that are negative, and that in and of itself perpetuates this suffering, this anxiety, this dread, right? Now, this is not for me to say that this would be a solve everything deck, but it definitely can be a good way of kind of getting you into that mindset. If you do a meditation every morning, if you do journaling, this could be a jumping off point for that too. Diary entries. How does this card make you feel? What memories does it bring up? What perspectives does it shift? What can you elaborate on in this card? I think it will give you a different way of looking at your day-to-day, your situations that you see yourself in your job, in your family dynamics, this, that, and the other. It's a good way of kind of allowing your mind to ruminate on something that's not necessarily a negative situation. So with that being said, I would love to know if this has been on your radar, if this is something that you think you would enjoy, where you think you need it. It's a different type of deck. Absolutely. And like I said, I definitely want to go through and read it, because there's a lot of in here that I've read so far that I agree with. I was not aware of Anthony De Mello. I now want to look him up and kind of read what he has written, but this gives me a great insight and jumping off point to his works. So thank you so much to Beyond Words for sending this my way. I'm excited to go through it. And what do you guys think? Is this something that you're excited about? Let me know down in the comments. And if you've made it this far, drop me a moon emoji to let me know you have. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me today. If you have not done so already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on your way out of this video. That way you will never miss an upload from me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.